Hi everyone, my name is Melissa van Dijk, and in today's video I want to talk about how breaking your habits can improve your skin. So when I was doing my experiment to figure out the root cause of my breakouts, I started noticing something very interesting over time. Whether I was changing the food I ate, the drinks I had, my shampoo, detergent, or even the apartment I was living in, all those changes had one thing in common. I was changing my habits, the way I was eating, the way I was living, how I was spending my days, and honestly, I think that played a huge role in the positive outcome I had. Because when you really stop and think about it, how many habits do we follow every single day without ever questioning them? It's probably more than we would like to admit. And I think the reason we don't question them is because we don't see them as a problem in the first place. It's just how we live. We go through our day on autopilot, doing what we are used to, what we grew up with, what our culture or society tells us is normal. We don't stop and ask, wait, is this actually good for me? And when I finally started asking myself that question, that's when things really started to shift. Even changing just one of those automatic routines made a bigger difference than I ever expected, especially when it came to my skin. I was trying to figure out what was really causing my acne. And in order to do that, I had to start making some changes. I wanted to get to the bottom of it, no more band-aid solutions. But honestly, in the beginning, I had no idea where to start. I had been using skincare products for years, doing tutorials on my channel literally every single day for over 5 years. And even though those products weren't giving me the long-term results I wanted, it still felt normal, and it's what everyone else was doing too. It was my routine. It was good. And I had never even thought to question the other things that could be affecting my skin. Like if someone even suggested it might be my diet or my environment, it made me feel upset, like I didn't even want to hear it. But deep down, I kind of knew there might be something to it. And eventually I told myself if I really want to get to the root cause, then I have to do whatever it takes. That means stopping everything. No skincare, no makeup, just stop. I needed a real baseline. Only then could I figure out if it was my environment, my diet, my emotions, or maybe all of it. And that's when things really start to shift, because when you're constantly using skincare, you're always second guessing. Was it that serum, that meal, that one stressful day, or maybe all of it combined? And you can never tell. But once I stripped everything away, I finally had clarity. And that's when I started wondering what else I could shift. So over time I started seeing my acne less as something wrong with me and more like a sign, like my body was trying to tell me something, and this wasn't even a new idea. If you look back at how people used to think before the beauty industry really exploded, breakouts were often seen as a sign of something internal or as a reaction to irritation from the outside. That kind of thinking used to be normal before it got pushed out by marketing and money. So yeah, since I wasn't putting anything on my skin anymore, it had to be something else. That's when I started paying more attention to what I was eating and drinking, and even what I was using in my home. Now I've made a bunch of different videos about that part of the experiment already, like how I tracked everything and what changed when I adjusted my diet. So I won't go too deep into that one right here, but you can find those videos on my channel if you're interested. But I will say this, the more I paid attention to what I was consuming, like the food, the drinks, the cookware I used, the body sprays, the shampoos, the more I realized how much I needed to change. And that's when the real shift started. The first step was just to becoming aware of how I was living. And I wasn't living dirty or messy. It was actually the opposite. I had all the stuff that's supposed to help you live a cleaner life, like disinfectants, scentants, laundry detergents, perfumes, air fresheners, body sprays, all the things we were told we need to feel fresh or healthy. I thought I was doing everything right. I never really questioned it because that's just how I was raised. My parents didn't know any better either. We were working class people who bought what we thought we needed. No one ever taught us how to invest our money. We just consumed because that's what everyone around us just did. And not wearing perfume or body sprays felt off. It felt like I wasn't myself anymore. But then I realized maybe I didn't even know what me smelled like anymore. Maybe I had never really experienced myself without all those layers. That moment, that realization, is what finally helped me start changing those habits. Because once I saw them for what they were, I couldn't unsee them. And slowly I started noticing patterns. And none of this happened overnight. It took months, and there were definitely some ups and downs. And at one point I even cut off the contact with my entire family. Not because of some big drama, but because I realized how emotionally tied I was to them in a way that didn't feel healthy. It felt like maybe that emotional burden, the feeling that we weren't really wanted as kids, was part of what was weighing me down physically too. And I had to see if there was a connection. And it turned out it wasn't directly connected to my acne, but I'm still glad I looked at it, because that emotional weight was real and it was affecting me, just in a different way. And once I saw all that more clearly, I could finally start putting the pieces together. The thing is, I needed time and space to even see those things for what they were. Once I did, I could start shifting them one at a time. And every time I made a change, I had to ask myself, what am I changing? Why am I doing it? Where do I want this to lead? For me, the end goal was always clear. Find the root cause of my acne. And there were moments when my skin was completely clear, even during my period. You know, when everyone says breakouts are normal because of hormonal shifts and all of that stuff. But seeing my skin stay clear on some of those days gave me so much hope, like maybe I could actually turn those patterns off somehow. And that's what kept me going. From there, it became less about fixing and more about understanding. As I built new habits, I started learning more about my body. What foods made me feel good, what triggered breakouts or bloating, what products my body tolerated, and what caused pain or discomfort. Keeping track of those things really helped, whether it was through journaling or taking daily photos. Over time, a pattern started to show up, and one thing that really surprised me was this. When I broke one habit, it often led to others breaking naturally too. For example, when I started changing my diet and my environment, I also started losing weight without even trying. And my skin tone began to even out. The redness around my mouth faded dramatically, and a few freckles I still had disappeared too. My skin looked fresher, calmer, younger, and I wasn't using any skincare products at all. You could even say I reversed aging that year, and not through skincare, but through food, sleep, lifestyle changes, and avoiding the sun as much as possible. And honestly, that year changed how I see everything. It showed me how powerful even the smallest shift can be, and whether they're intentional. I mean, you don't need to change your whole life overnight. Just start with one habit, one routine, one small thing you do without thinking, and ask yourself, is this actually helping me, or am I just doing it because I always have? Let yourself question things, let yourself experiment, take notes, listen to your body, and most importantly, give it time. Even one shift can open the door to many more. That's where the real transformation begins. Alright, I leave it right here. I hope that this gave you something to think about and maybe even something to try. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.